established baseball about Barry Bonds. He's so good, and he also decided to cheat Barry Bonds. But I didn't know that as a man and as a person.
As I said, Barry Bonds is one of the greatest of living Americans because of all the reasons that you just listed, which is to say, look, y'all said that the game didn't change, and I decided to do what y'all said do, which is change with the game. Sammy Sosa gonna take this, Mark McGwire gonna take this, Jose Canseco gonna take this, and on it goes. So I'm just gonna take my Barry Bonds skill, which already makes me into something of an Olympian. And by Olympian, I mean God, not, the dudes that run for medals or the women that compete for medals. I mean the dudes that are on Olympus, right? And then you give me the juice. You give me the super serum. Of course I am going to destroy. How dare you get mad at me for going along with what you were doing in the first place? I'm just better than all of you. I just took the juice to be better than them too. I don't see a problem with this. Plus, how good
the scrubs are doing it. Why can't I do it?
Brett Boone was out here doing it and bat flipping, I might add. Like, Brett Boone was actually a second baseman who was hitting just crushing dingers and then flip, But apparently, if Brett Boone does it, it's fine. If Tim Anderson does it, we got a problem. Also, this Tony La Russa Chicago White Sox experience is going to be so much fun because Tony La Russa is the dude that said, hey, this man should have never hit that home run on a 3-0 count. Why? Because, he's just taking advantage of the situation. Because he knew he was going to get something to hit? Yeah, you're showing off. I'm showing off because I hit a 3-0 home run? Yo! All right. So now, Tony La Russa has been on the list for some time because, this gets back in this conversation that you and I were having about the other podcast that was having the conversation, which is to say, fun, competition, that's what it is. And Barry Bonds was like, cool, I have this much of the bat that I can hit the ball on, just this much right here. If they throw the ball, I have to hit it in this much, otherwise I'm not going to be able to do much damage. And he was so good at that, that they stopped throwing him baseballs. They just said, yo, man, just go to first base. Take that big ass thing off your elbow and go on to first base because we don't want these problems. And he still is the home run king. He still managed to hit more home runs than anybody else in any season in any career. Yeah,
I think I'm going to remember this poorly, but there were towards the end of his career, or actually whenever he was still raking, they did the everybody that was in love with stats did the whole, how good would Barry Bonds be if he never actually hit the ball? Like if you just let him run the bases every time he got walked. And it was, he might still be a Hall of Famer.
Not still be, would be. Because like before he was on the juice, he was still a 5-tool player. It's just he got on the juice and he got enormous. And it became real difficult to play him in left field. And they still played him in left field because he's still that cold. Like, one of the greatest I've ever seen do anything. Like the way that people talk about Randy Arozarena, right? You've heard this. Randy Arozarena is the dude with the Tampa Bay Rays who hit more home runs in any postseason than any other person ever, right? 10 home runs this man hit. Just destroying. OPS off the charts. You throw him something to hit, he's going to crush it. Like you throw him a mistake, it's going to end up in somebody's lap, all right? Randy Arozarena, at his superpower, at his height in the postseason, is what Barry Bonds was full time before the juice. I can't imagine how bored with the game I must be to be that good. And that Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson kind of bored with the game kind of good. I'm so good. Aaron Donald, I'm going to saloon door blast the center and the guard off of me because I'm just bored. Who does that? These dudes do that.
Gotta get to the point where it's like, technique takes work and time. Whatever. I just put time in the gym and I was also blessed by the gods. I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
That's what it is though. Like, all right. I picked up MLB The Show last night, and by picked it up, I mean started playing. Because I had put away the PS4 because I'm working on this book. But I looked up at this book and I got 42,000 words written, and I signed a contract like 6 weeks ago. So I'm making hay, right? I'm churning it out. I'm getting it in. So I'm gonna give myself an opportunity to have a little more fun. So I go get the show out. And I forgot how much I really love playing baseball. Because remember, I was talking about on the show how much I love watching baseball, right? Baseball is me. You know, college football is also me. And that's why it's real difficult to be me, because most of the folks that like those two sports have beliefs that are antithetical to mine outside of those sports. And even in those sports, why you got to showboat? Because it's fun. You don't want to get showboated on, then don't get styled on. If you don't want me to flip the bat, don't throw me something I'm going to launch into the damn ocean. Because that's what Barry Bonds was doing. There's a cove named after McCovey that was over there in Wright. And that man said goodbye. And that ball went over there. And he would slowly take his time. And they would try to talk noise to him. And he would look back at you and say, if you don't like it, don't throw me nothing to hit. And I never will forget the man that thought that he could actually go at Barry Bonds. That was one of my favorite days in sports ever. You know, it's like the dudes that wanted to smoke at the Malice at the Palace. Like the dudes in the stands. It's the same difference. It's the same difference. You know, like, hey, man, it's like homeboy Javon Wims, who decided to throw hands at Courtney Gardner-Johnson last night. It's like these dudes in Florida, Missouri, who decided to throw hands at dudes wearing helmets, which, you know, is how I know the evolution has not gone anywhere, because we still balling up our fist and throwing them at helmets.
I'm telling you, humans have no idea what their hands do. Humans don't understand the fact that as constructions, we are fragile. Do you know how many bones the human hand has? And think about how, we're just talking about sports, right? Think about how many times you've seen your homeboy punch wall or leave their hand to get hit by a door. It's like, oh, you didn't think that was going to hurt before you did it. Here's again, once again, human beings, we will, somebody left a divot in the lawn and go make sure I walk around that. Don't want to turn an angle. Don't want to bust a ligament in my knee. But as soon as you feel just the slightest bit of passion, somebody's going to throw a punch at a helmet, break their knuckle, and be like, who could have thought that this would have happened?
And you work with your hands, literally. You literally work with your hands. There's no football player that does not literally work with his hands. Putting hands on people is your job, right? Like, and they go throw these hands at these helmets. But what I love most about what happened last night is my man had time to think about it and plot on it. Okay, so for those of y'all that don't know, Javon Wims plays wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. They are losing to the New Orleans Saints. But, you know, my man's playing for the Saints, Courtney Gardner-Johnson, decided that he had had enough of Javon Wims' mouth, and he decided to rip his mouthpiece off. But the way that he ripped his mouthpiece off is the way that you might snatch somebody's chain. Real quick, fast, and then tossed it. Like, you know, it's not even important. Just whop through. And by the time Javon Wims figured out what would happen, he was already off the field. And his mouthpiece is still out there. So much so that, like, the offense is moving the ball. Chicago Bears offensive lineman picks up the mouthpiece, tosses it to the side. Meanwhile, Javon Wims is really on the sideline for 11 minutes of real life time. Javon Wims gets back onto the field, finds Courtney Gardner-Johnson, throws a punch at him that misses, and then throws another punch at him that lands. And everybody's looking at this going, wait a second, what did we miss? Why is he throwing hands at this man? Because literally 11 minutes ago, he had his mouthpiece snatched like it was his chain. Because these men truly do fight at work. And when they're fighting at work, they fight with their hands, which is the stupidest damn thing ever. Which gives me back to the whole Barry Bonds, why would you fight him? One, he's bigger than you. And two, he's holding a bat. Like, I don't understand, Ron. You've thrown the baseball. You no longer have the baseball. Right? Like, the first thing that you do as a pitcher is you say, yo, give me the ball back. Throw me the ball back. Throw me the ball back. And now I got to walk this dude down. Because then you got something to hit somebody with. But you going to charge him while he's still got a bat in his hands? And you got your glove?
It's been a long time since somebody got Rudy Tomjanovic'd. And I think that if you go out there, you rush the mound or you rush the plate, you drop the gloves on the ice. I don't think anybody imagines that today's the day that I die. I'm not going to get killed out here, right? So that means I can wild out as much as I want.
He not actually going to do something.
Yeah, exactly. Look at all these witnesses, right? All it's going to take is just one day. One day, somebody's going to say, you know what? I'm throwing it to the wind. Mama didn't raise no fool in this favela. And so you come at me, you best not miss.
Wait. As soon as you said favela, you know that you in the wrong hood. As soon as somebody comes out with favela, you don't want these problems. Like, you from where? It's like, oh, you from the 5th Ward? My bad. My fault. How do I make this right? Because they are not cut from what you're cut from. Okay? They are here because they have no future. In the future that they have cultivated for themselves, they are not about to lose it to you. Speaking of which, remember when I was talking about earlier, just like 2 minutes ago, about how my beliefs antithetical to those of most of the people that like the thing that I like? Dude gonna get in here.
It's a tough Venn diagram, isn't it?
He got in here on the chat talking about anybody who watches the NFL is un-American.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna roll with it. Yeah, of course. You got some smart marks in your fan base.
Oh my God, dude. Like, not everybody is Doc Winston or Boogie. I understand that. But damn it, man. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So now I'm just blocking people. That's just what I'm doing. I'm also really tired. I'm not tired. I want to see Florida beat Georgia in the worst way. Can I tell you why? Because Dan Mullen is the dude that not only says, I want to see 90,000 people pack the swamp and then loses a week of games because they contracted COVID, but he's also the dude who shows up post-game on Halloween dressed as Darth Vader. One, because Halloween, and two, because mask. Like, that's his overcompensation, right? Because that's peak South. We're going to overcompensate down here. And you threw hands in the middle of a football game against Missouri. Why? Because the Missouri backer had the nerve to hit Kyle Trask as he threw as the clock is running down at halftime. It's a cheap shot, but at the same time, dog, I'm like, am I going to get up and throw hands about it? And then
it wasn't a remarkable cheap shot. I'm glad that you have the fire inside you that you want to go up there and raise a stink because it was the last play before half.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But not so much as to instigate a fight. I was about to say, we could go back through the last 40 weeks of football, find at least 100 late hits on quarterbacks. And the most that you get out of most of teammates or coaches on the sidelines are, man, Randy, you should have thrown that flag.
And Andy Dalton got destroyed last week. Cowboys is like, who did what? I don't know that cat. Like, he didn't want to fight. Like, he was looking at him like, get up. Like, get up, fool. Why you let yourself get hit?
I was like, it happens to the best of us. Pick yourself up.
Man, my Cowboys.
Master Bruce, why did we fall?
Oh, man. Why did we fall and break everything? And it's also like, it's Kyle Trask, right? Who's having a Heisman Award-winning season. Like, he's going to be the Dwayne Haskins of this Heisman season, which say, good enough in an average year to be your Heisman Trophy winner. But because Mac Jones is unconscious, Justin Fields is still Justin Fields. Najee Harris is going, remember when I told y'all that Alabama running backs can win the Heisman and it's not just Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram? Yeah, that's me. Because all those dudes are doing what they're doing, we're not going to give Kyle Trask the same amount of credit, especially since he lost to Texas A&M. However, Kyle Trask is the best quarterback at the world's largest cocktail party this weekend, which I did not expect to say. Best starting quarterback, excuse me. But he might not be the best quarterback on his own damn team. Okay, so I wrote this story about Justin Fields for FoxSports.com. You should go check it out. It's a magazine feature. It's like 3,500 words, and I made a video over at Fox Sports, or I should say CFB on Fox on the YouTubes. You can check the community tab for that. All that to say, I got to talk with Yvonne Fields, who was hella cool and just telling me stories about his kid. One of the stories he told me was they went to the Tennessee camp. And at these camps is where you get these, you get your offers if you play well. So he's 6'3", 225, runs 4.4 in the 40, and then he goes into the quarterback line. They see him throw, and Butch Jones is doing everything he can not to salivate because he's got Emory Jones standing next to him. Emory Jones is a top 4-star dual threat quarterback who was picking between Tennessee and Ohio State at the time. So you can't actually offer Justin Fields in front of him. Otherwise, you're never going to win Emory Jones, right? Because that's disrespectful. It's mad disrespectful. That's being engaged to be married and then going to, hey, go up to this other woman and be like, you want to marry me? Nah, it's not going to go over well. It's not going to be all right. So he's watching Justin Fields go through this thing at Tennessee, knowing that this kid is only 2.5 hours away and going, damn, I can't even offer this kid because I didn't even know this kid existed. Emory Jones ends up committing to Ohio State, right? But by signing day, Emory Jones had flipped his commitment to Florida. So he's at Florida, where he expects to be the starting quarterback when Kyle Trask kind of just gets offered and comes up over there as Felipe Franks is still going through the motions. Felipe Franks blows out his ankle against Kentucky last year. Kyle Trask comes in, becomes Kyle Trask. Emory Jones looking at everybody like, ain't I the highest rated quarterback on this depth chart? Yeah, dog, and you still can't get on the field. As Kyle Trask was backing up Derek King at Manville. He didn't even play. And they still gave him an offer, and he still ended up in Florida because he ain't that good. All to say, that dude, Kyle Trask, is a way better quarterback than the dude starting for Georgia, Stetson Bennett, who was also the dude that was the scout team quarterback for Georgia, trying to give Roquan Smith and them a look as they get ready to play Oklahoma in the damn Rose Bowl. It's the only time in Stetson Bennett's life where he's going to be in the same conversation as Baker damn Mayfield. But here he is getting ready to start against another top 10 opponent. He ain't got no business doing that. He walked on at Georgia the first time, got ran off to junior college, came back as a walk-on, expected to be the fourth quarterback on the depth chart. Store brand Cam Newton, a.k.a. Jamie Newman, opts out. But JT Daniels had transferred in. He's coming back from ACL. They say he's cleared to play, but he ain't cleared to play, so I don't know who to believe on that one. I just know the dude was a 5-star quarterback who threw for 67 touchdowns in one damn season of football at Modern Day. And then they got Carson Beck back there, who was one of the most highly rated 2020 quarterbacks in the class. And you gonna tell me that Stetson Bennett is the best you can do. Worst part about this is Todd Grantham is a sorry defensive coordinator when it comes to doing anything other than dialing up blitzes. And since he's going to hit the Engage 8 play about 4 times during this world's largest cocktail party, Stetson Bennett is not going to be able to stand in the rush and see the rush, and he's going to throw 2 interceptions against a team that is down to the security guards at safety because of COVID restrictions. I'm excited for this game. I'm so excited for this game. Because these coaches are willfully sabotaging themselves. Like Kirby Smart, for the second time in 3 years, has looked at the better quarterback and said, hey, I want to keep you in reserve. I want to throw out this vanilla white boy to be my damn quarterback, knowing he can't make me no plays. And Florida fans got to deal with Jake Fromm never lost to them. You know how bad it's going to be in Gainesville if they lose to Stetson damn Bennett?
This is all part of the pro-chaos movements. I'm so glad that we can count Dan Mullins as one of us in our ranks, because it takes a lot to look at. Like you said, I consistently put the second best quarterback on the field all the time. I'm rolling the dice. I like the degree of difficulty. I like playing on. I don't even say I like playing on super hard mode. I just like to see the numbers do what they do.
Like I'm watching Stetson Bennett against Alabama, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, man, if JT Daniels is playing this game, y'all have a chance to win it at the end. Instead, you got Stetson Bennett quite literally running from Alabama defenders because he knows they're going to kill him, and throwing the ball right as he's in the referee's ear saying something like, blow the whistle. All right, I put it this way. No matter what happens in the election, if Georgia beats Florida, that is what will burn Florida down.
That's going to be it?
That's going to be it.
Like so when you say that's going to be it, talk more. So losing the
Oh,
Georgia
hell,
team
and I
doesn't
forgot
sound like
Dwan Mathis started the season. My bad. I'm sorry. He is the third best. Like, Dwan Mathis was the starter, and he got pulled in the first half. Stetson Bennett is throwing interceptions. Dwan Mathis can't get back in the damn game. Anyway, I'm sorry. I cut you off. Damn.
No, you good. It's just one of those, like, Florida's been waiting for the come up for a while. They're I hate talking about this year football so much.
Oh, why? It's so much fun.
Because it's no, like, because when it says, like, I want to say, oh, well, they're a good team. It's like, nobody's a good team. It doesn't really matter. So, knowing that Florida is continuing trying to be the king of the East, losing to Georgia, who I don't think is a bad football team, I don't know if that puts them in this is over with. We got to shut it down. Time to blow it up. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
I say the loss to Texas A&M is why we're here, right? Because as much as you don't want to lose to anybody in the SEC, nobody wants to lose to Ampersand U, because Ampersand U fans are insufferable. Like, they're awful, and they haven't won a damn thing since 1939. Do you know how obnoxious they would be if they were good? And to know that they would be good would mean Florida beat Georgia, which is the transitive win for A&M to beat Georgia, right? But I'm looking at this and going, people are saying Clemson is sketch, right? Because they go down 18 to Boston College, down 15 at half to Boston College, and they end up winning that game. However, nobody wants to talk about how Ole Miss and the Lane Train put up 48 points and 647 yards of offense. So when you say nobody's good, the only team right now that is quote-unquote unblemished, like hasn't had a poor half or a poor outing, might be Ohio State. But you can make an argument that they got ran over by Nebraska, 200 yards rushing they gave up, and Nebraska ain't no good. And they gave up damn near 300 yards passing to Sean Clifford and Parts, as Jahan Dotson was mossing Sean Wade, who is supposed to be a first-round draft pick at corner. So no, ain't nobody no good. That's kind of the fun of this, right? There is no Clemson Voltron juggernaut of 2018, right? It doesn't really exist. There is no LSU juggernaut of 2019. Doesn't really exist, right? I take that back. Even LSU got played close by Auburn, right, last year. Shout out to LSU fans. I'm going to get to y'all in a little bit. Year. Y'all got 48-11. Yeah. I got stories. Anyway, all to make your point about how, for me, this is the most fun. Because ain't none of y'all no good. And everybody's got an argument. Meanwhile, Coastal Carolina's like, we're 5-0. When do we get into the playoff? We would like to know. Thank you. BYU, we're 7-0. When do we get in the playoff? Thank you. Anytime now. You can let us know. And USC, Oregon, Arizona State, all of them, they start playing on Saturday, being like, hey, look, what up? We're going to run the table. When do we get in the playoff? I can't wait. We're going to end up with an undefeated Coastal Carolina, an undefeated BYU, I hope an undefeated Pac-12 team, an undefeated Ohio State, an undefeated Alabama, and an undefeated Clemson. That's 6 teams. And they're going to automatically disqualify 2 of them while they get to walk around as the national champs. We're going to have at least 3 national champions. You know that, right?
Oh yeah. First off, that's always the fun part. I'm talking about this middle part. That's always going to be the fun part. Is looking like 5 and 6. I bet you're pretty salty, huh? Y'all didn't even get a chance, did you? That's tough. Poll said what now? Man.
Oh man. Poll said what now? Oklahoma State. Poll said what now? Number what? Number 6. Okay. All right. So like. Alongside the Notre Dame Clemson game, right? The world's largest cocktail party. But with Notre Dame Clemson, it's got my full attention because there's so many cool storylines, right? First of which is Ian Book, Jafar Armstrong. I think like there's one other player that I'm missing. Avery Davis. All were on that 2018 Notre Dame team that got destroyed by Clemson in the Cotton Bowl. college football playoff. Remember, they're 12-0 going into that, but they're a soft 12-0, and we're all going, they're not that good. And USC had them on the ropes. 5-7 USC had them on the ropes. Should have won that game, did not. That team had Alohi Gilman, had Julian Love, who was a Paycom Jim Thorpe Award finalist, had Dexter Williams, right? Had Phil Jerkovic as the third-string quarterback. You know, dude at Boston College damn near beat Clemson last week. That was Notre Dame. Now, this year, you got Notre Dame, who has to play for a conference championship to get into the playoff, which I love. Ian Book going into a year in which he has to prove to everybody that he's just not, Yankee Jake Fromm. Jafar Armstrong has been moved to wide receiver because that's how trash they are out there. You got Chris Tyree behind a Kyron Williams who has become your go-to player, right? You are a power run team now. And you are hoping that your defense that nobody can point to as saying, yo, that dude is going to win some individual award, can continue to do what they did. Like, the thing that is wild about Notre Dame, they run roughshod over Florida State, 42-26, which doesn't feel like a big deal. But they were the 5th-ranked team at the time when they did it. The next week, Florida State ran roughshod over the number 5 team in the country, North Carolina. So the ACC, as you have said, as we agree, is Clemson plus dudes. But Notre Dame is like, we're not dudes. And we're like, hey, look, remember when y'all played 5 ACC games in 2018? Y'all got destroyed in the college football playoff by the ACC champ? Yeah, y'all dudes. Y'all just dudes. Brian Kelly out here trying to be like, yo, man, this is not the end-all, be-all for us. We're trying to win a conference championship. Well, you got to beat Clemson to do that. What? Do we? I don't think we do. I think we just got to beat one of the two winningest teams. We get 2 chances to do this. But if you can't beat Clemson without Trevor Lawrence, can you beat Clemson? To say nothing to this is also not going to get enough run. It's not. Why isn't the media talking about this? That's a joke. It's not real. Anyway, why isn't the media talking about this? Justin Ross went ham against Notre Dame in that Cotton Bowl against Clemson. It was his coming out party, okay? And by ham, I do mean hard as a, yes, that was that dude. He hasn't played it all this year. They also haven't had a whole hell of a lot of Joseph Nada. And you're talking about Cornell Powell as being your go-to dude outside of Amari Rodgers. Cornell Powell might not be the 5th best wide receiver on that team in a good year. And then you look at Travis Etienne back there who's going, cool, I will carry this. I will be Alvin Kamara with Eddie George's thighs. Also, my favorite thing about Travis Etienne going into this game, he came back for a senior year. He didn't have to come back for a senior year, right? I called a man Popeyes because he from Jennings, Louisiana, but like during the quarantine, that man did not work out. That man ate Popeyes.
Hey, self-care, man.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying.
Take care of yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Came to camp 20 pounds overweight, had to go lose all that weight. Still averages 7 yards carry, right? Still ACC rushing record holder. But also, what I love most about Travis Etienne is that my man's nickname as a true freshman was Stone Hands. They would not throw him the ball. So one of the reasons he wanted to come back this year is to prove that he can catch the damn football out of the backfield. And against Boston College, he had 7 catches for 140 yards. He's taking him to the house. He also had a fumble on the 6-inch line that was returned 100 yards to the house. So Travis Etienne needs to have one hell of a football game because he did have that against Notre Dame 2 years ago. Average 8 yards per carry against that Notre Dame defense that had Jerry Tillery and them in it. So much is going on here. But not the least of which is Brian Kelly feels like, the regular person at Notre Dame right now because he knows what it means to play for a conference championship. Like, he likes playing for conference championships as opposed to...
That's right.
Yeah. 2018, they played 5 games in 5 different locations on the road. Like, they go into USC, they go into BYU, they go into wherever the hell it is they can get the games because they barnstorming to try to prove to the playoff committee that they deserve to be selected. Now they're like, no, we get to do what everybody else does. We get to do what Oklahoma does in the Big 12, what Clemson does in the ACC, which is win it and we in, right? We get to live that life. Wouldn't it be bad if they won this game and then they lost the championship game that we wanted them to play in 2018 so they wouldn't play in the playoff in 2018 in the first place? So much is going on here for me.
that's the bit of Schadenfreude that we've always wanted as football fans, is to be able to to have yet another way of saying that we don't particularly care for Notre Dame. If you say that, oh wow, y'all really good, made the conference championship, drop that. That's a shame. Guess that proves y'all shouldn't have been in the conference. Leave. I say that it shouldn't have been in the conference. They're a conference of everything else besides football. It's like, I hope the money good. I hope that money helps you sleep good at night.
It's what I refer to as an open marriage with the ACC, right? And this year, it's state mandated. It's how when you have to check that box on your taxes that says, head of household, the ACC is now the head of the Notre Dame household. If for 1 year only. I'm enjoying that.
Say COVID has closed the swingers club, so
the patriarchy has come to Notre Dame.
Like, is my room still good? I still got one, right?
I'm so here for this. So on top of all this, right, Brent Venables' defense did not have defensive tackles Tyler Davis or linebackers Mike Jones and James Skalski. All three are starters. So the question that was posed to Brian Kelly during the presser was, hey, man, do you think it's difficult for, Clemson to game plan for Notre Dame if they don't have their starters? To which my man Brian Kelly picks up the depth chart and says, I got a depth chart right here, and starts playing daily fantasy football. I'll take their fourth linebacker, their fifth defensive tackle. He's just doing that. No, I'm not giving them any handicaps. I don't give a damn if Trevor Lawrence is not playing. Have you seen this dude? I can't believe he wouldn't say his name, though. I wanted to hear him say, Ui Unga Lele.
I've seen multiple people. So I spent a lot of this weekend watching CBS Sports, ESPN, all sorts of news. You're surprised how many people try to cop out of not saying this dude's name. It's amazing. So yeah, now the game is, I need to hear you say it. I need to hear everybody that I haven't heard say it.
Oh man, I've been practicing for 3 years.
Right.
Because remember, this show covers recruiting. Shout out to the homie Greg Biggins, who is regional analyst for 247 Sports, covered DJ Uiagalelei while he was at St. John Bosco. And he was butchering his name. So DJ's daddy sent him a voice text. It said, Greg, I'm tired of hearing you butcher my kid's name. Our name is Uiagalelei. Uiagalelei. Greg was kind enough to send me that recording 2 years ago. Because that's what it takes, right? In broadcast, two things that I will never take for granted and two things you absolutely have to get right. The first name and the last name.
It's the lowest bar to respect.
But
saying somebody's name right.
But then you'll find out people pronounce their names differently. Balake. Aaron. It ain't how you say it. That's where it gets trippy, right? It's not, yo man, Scott Banks, Scout Bonks.
My favorite. Oh, you the North Carolina's leading high school scorer. You talking about Jamison Curry? No. You've got it wrong. It's only 2 syllables, sir. It's James On.
Oh my God.
James On Curry. You remember that? Yeah.
Jameis Winston? Jameis. I don't know any Jameis. Yo, man, what's your name? Jameis. It says, you know what? To hell with it. Jameis. That's what you're doing. So, you're literally going with the SID if I hope. This would be what I do. If I'm the play-by-play dude. I'll sit with the sports information director and I go line by line. Now, sometimes they're kind enough to put the phonetic spelling next to a name that they know is typically difficult to pronounce. But I would still do it. And I would want to practice in front of that person. And practice over and over again. And then there's the odd parent you're going to piss off. I've told this story before, I'm going to tell it again, though. At Texas, the best wide receiver is Joshua Moore. A lot of us just shorten that to Josh Moore.
Mm-hmm.
His mama got on the tweets, and his mama said, my son's name is Joshua. It is not the book of Josh. It is the book of Joshua. It's a biblical name. Now,
if his mama called him Joshua, I'm going to call him Joshua.
So we got dudes that was going to try to test that, and they got lit up. Ain't nobody called that man Josh since that day. Because parents do get on the tweets or get in the text messages to be like, yo, man, my name is, and I'll be like, dog, that's my bad. Like, I was doing it with not just Uyunglele. I'm trying to remember who else I was butchering. Because I do this every night. Like, LSU, I got to practice. It's not a given. All right, Ron, my man's name is Damone.
D-O-A.
No, Damone. Damone. What's my man's name?
Yeah, the one. The one and only. The one.
Oh, my God.
The one who owns my heart.
My man's last name is Boutte. So, like, I'm reading Ed Orgeron's book that's ghostwritten by Bruce Feldman called Flip the Script. Okay? And it's got some names in here. And every now and again, I am grateful that Feldman takes the time to tell me how to pronounce LaFleuche. Because I would not have pronounced LaFleuche, LaFleuche. I would have probably pronounced it something close to the LaFourche. Right? And then I had LSU fans coming down to make fun of me once again. It's like, I'm not from there, man. We call them counties. Y'all call them parishes.
I mean, it's tough. It's also, but like if you grew up from around there, this is now no longer a college football podcast. It's a name podcast.
Oh, I don't care.
But, right. I had this problem the last few years with Oregon because I'm looking over there at that quarterback, Justin Herbert, and I have to say it in my head 10 times before I hit that last name. It's like, oh, you mean Justin Hebert, right? Justin Hebert. I know I probably said this on Wax a few times. Like, man, that Hebert cat at Oregon, he's pretty mediocre.
So, Bobby Hebert is one of Ed Orgeron's all-time great friends.
Bobby Herbert?
See? And T-Bob Herbert, Hebert, is also a sports talk show host personality down there. So, like, I don't know, man. I got to wait for other people to say stuff before I say stuff, right? And I got to think that if you grow up in an Anglo-Saxon household, you don't know how to say anything ever. Because you ain't even got Shatad and Shatid in your family, right? You ain't got those folks in your family. All you got is Brian's and Lindsay's and Kate's and Melissa's. You don't have.
I think it depends on where you fall on the class scale, because we could go ahead and pull up a lacrosse roster right now, and you would see some names. We could go ahead and pull up the Rodu team at BYU, and you would see some names, but not the names that you're talking about.
All right, so I need to tell you this story about Cortez Kennedy that Ed Orgeron told us. Okay, and I've read Ed Orgeron's book. I'm going to do segments about the book because there's cool stories in here, even as I know that he's holding back because these stories are watered down. Anyway, Cortez Kennedy is one of Ed Orgeron's favorite players. Played for him at Miami, right? Anyway, Cortez Kennedy goes on to become a Pro Football Hall of Famer, but he didn't start out that way. He got to Miami from junior college. And on the first day of camp, they're running 110s because it's part of their conditioning test, right? And he ran with the lineman at about 370. He beat everybody in the first sprint, and they get him like a month away from playing Florida State. And after the first 110 where he beat everybody, he is feeling himself. He's shouting woo. The second 110, he beat everybody again. And he told everybody that could hear him, we're going to whoop Florida State's ass. Okay. After the third 110, everybody was just in awe, dude, because he's still just roasting all these linemen at 370. After the fourth 110, Cortez Kennedy passed out.
Say he ain't got no limiter. I go till we fail.
He passed out. The trainers had to come get him. And that first year, he didn't play anything but field goal. They called him two-play Tez. So about his sophomore, junior year, he went up to Ed Orgeron, who's still defensive line coach for Jimmy Johnson in Miami, and said, Coach, how much lighter do I have to get for you to play me? And Ed Orgeron asked Cortez Kennedy straight up, what are you going to do if you don't play pro football? And he said, I'll probably go back to Arkansas and be a state trooper. I would have loved to have seen that. But Ed Orgeron thought what many of us probably thought, but did not say it because we're not Ed Orgeron talking to Cortez Kennedy. He said, there is not a cop car big enough to hold you, Cortez. So I'm going to need you to get down to about 285 from about 350. His roommate was Randy Shannon, linebacker in Miami, Central Florida, defense coordinator, a couple other places as well, Miami included. And Randy Shannon's job was to get Cortez Kennedy down to weight. And Randy Shannon is either the best roommate or the worst roommate because Randy Shannon put a padlock on the fridge, slept in the kitchen, took Cortez Kennedy's car keys so he couldn't sneak out at night, and ran 3 miles in the morning and 3 miles in the evening with Cortez Kennedy. Now, he got down to about 290, right, and became who he is and passed away, rest him, 2017. I think he was just 47 years old. But I want to hear Randy Shannon tell this story because I don't want it bad enough. Like, I'm certified NASM, ACSM, CSCS, right? Personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach. I don't want it enough to have to run roughshod over my roommate about what they eat, when they eat with them, and force them to work out. I don't want it that bad. So I can't wait to hear how Randy Shannon remembers this going down. Because this is Ed Orgeron telling the Randy Shannon part of this story. So Ron, what do you think it was like for Randy Shannon to police 350-pound, stupid, mule-strong Cortez Kennedy?
Man, it's gotta be tough. You talking about a dude that, like, the story that you led off talking about Cortez Kennedy is like this man at 350 plus rocking the 110s, right?
Right.
Did it until he failed because one, he wanted it. Like, I got governors on myself. You know, I get a bit when it's like, hey, guys, we gotta shut it down, right? There's always tomorrow, right? I don't want to blow it up today. So you're looking at a dude that knows that he's good and know that he's athletic. So this must have been just a culture thing, because if this wasn't Miami, because this is not the first time this has ever happened on a college campus that, hey, your brother's keeper, make sure you keep food out of his mouth. At other places, like, yo, dog, like if this wasn't Miami coming out the 80s, you know, being the squad that we know that he is, if this was just Miami of Ohio and it was the Ohio versions of Kennedy and Shannon would have a different story. He's like, yo, dog, I had to sleep. You know, we didn't have the internet back then, so like my assignments would just be out. So I can't risk just having my homework getting eaten by a dog because I told my man that he couldn't have second breakfast like this, The Hobbit. Cortez, I would say this: Cortez must have really wanted it. There must have been some as part of the team culture that says, yeah, I'll get on the program. We want to be winners, of course. And I imagine if you Cortez Kennedy at 290, you probably looking like Aaron Donald anyway. So it's like, yeah, I'm flexing from the mirror. Look at me.
I had Cortez Kennedy cards when he played with the Niners. I had Cortez Kennedy cards when he played with the Seahawks because my dad's a big Seahawks fan. Like, that was the first defensive tackle I actually liked. And then I come to find out that's not no regular defensive tackle, RJ. That's just him. Also, in this story, I need to tell another strength conditioning story. Because Tommy Moffitt was strength conditioning coordinator at LSU here recently. And I think he still is, actually. Anyway, he had a conditioning test. Let me tell you about how bad, I must hate you to put this conditioning test in. Because it is sneakily the hardest thing in the world to do. Okay. So, when they get back to class in the summer on the first Tuesday in June, Tommy Moffitt makes his team run 16 90-yard shuttles, up 30, back 30, up 30, with 1 minute rest in between. The receivers got to do the drill in 15 seconds. The quarterbacks, tight ends got to do it in 17. Linemen got to do it in 19. Then after you get those 16 in, you got to do 16 110-yard sprints, and you only got 5 minutes of rest before you do those after you've already done the 16 90-yard shuttles. If you fail one of those reps, you have to do it every Friday until you no longer are failing reps. Ron, I work out all the time. I think about working out a lot of the time. I've looked at conditioning tests and conditioning drills across soccer, basketball, football, wrestling. I can't tell you how bad that would ruin your psyche if you are not ready to do it. Like if you were not actually prepared for these 32 reps in this short amount of time, where all it feels like you're doing is eating turf, and all it feels like you're doing is filling up with lactic acid, you will quit. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like walk off because you won't be able to. You'll just stop. You'll be bent over, and then you'll sit down, and then you'll lay down. And you'll say to Coach Moffitt, I will see you Friday.
Saying that whole entire time, it's like, all right, cool. That means I have homework to put in so that I will pass on Friday.
God, isn't that the worst?
And it's got to be just as hard because if you don't put in the work, Friday comes around, you miss it by a second.
Man,
all right, Coach, I guess I'll see you. No, with tears in your eyes.
Yes.
I guess I'll see you next week.
Okay, remember a fast 40, right? A fast 40, 4.8. 4.8.
For what you talking about for regular human beings?
No, I'm talking about for college football player.
A high 4.6.
Okay, high 4.6, right? And you got to cover 30 yards 5 times successively, stop and start, in 5 seconds. Like, it's that last one where you're going to be, like, breaking the tape. You're going to be chest leaning. And then you're going to get 1 minute, and you got to do it 15 more times. And then you get 5 minutes, and you got to run the length of the field in 15 seconds, 16 times, with 1 minute of rest in between each. Like, I've run enough 110s in my life to know it's just far enough for you to feel like you can run 50 yards and coast, right? If you get off. But about number 9, you don't have no get off no more. All you got is run. By number 15 of these 16, you don't have anything at all.
And the thing about this is that we still on the clock.
Oh my God!
We're still on the clock.
Oh my God!
We're still looking at the clock. Because I'm telling you, at number 9, I'm thinking, all right, well, in a regular scenario, that's not hell. It's like, cool, fine. This one doesn't count. Just got 8 more. All right, this one doesn't count. Just got 6 more. All right, this one's down. Just got 5 more. But no. We got 5 more. And, oh, man, I was pretty slow on that one. Or think about this. I missed one. I missed one early. Number 2, lineman. So it's like I came in there as 20 seconds flat.
And everything I know about Moffitt, he would not have let that slide. Like, you would come in at 19-1. Okay, see you Friday. What? I said I see you Friday.
No, that's 19 seconds. Yeah. 19.1. We got hard brackets around these.
Oh man. And like the other part is, why
this is already living in my mind like rent free. Like I'm sick right now.
Well, and I would just be angry because I would start litigating, right? Because I would look at it and be like, we run 21 personnel. We run with a fullback. Why the hell do I need to be able to do this? Like, we don't run spread. I don't actually have to run. We get to line up and take the play clock down. This is bull. Like, I would be yelling so loud.
It's like, oh, you think this is about cardio, but what this really is cortisol management.
Nah,
all right,
man.
Cool. So this is this is mental warfare. Thanks. I love it. Pay me.
Shout out to Serious Gaming. Said the $15 super chat. That's what's up. Yo, RJ just wanted to take a second and say we all love what you do and continue to notice the growth. You're blessed and we are here for it. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That's cool. Like,
you love to see it.
Yeah. I get to do something else for Fox Sports later this week, so be on the lookout for that too as we continue to grow. That was actually the coolest part, and like, Boogie pointed this out to me too, because I went back to do this thing where I'm normally in the comments. The comments kind of get untoward on the channel from time to time and be like, I'm just not gonna. But on the CFB on Fox, we put up the video. I went into the comments, right? And there's lots of folks that are already on this channel that are found that channel and be like, it's cool to see RJ get some shine. But it was also really cool to people like, yo man, what's with the fist? What is with these fists? And there's lots of people coming in the comments be like, oh, you don't actually know, huh? You're on this channel. You're not on his channel. What are you doing? That was cool. Like, that was cool. That's my favorite thing about this is the in jokes. What does step milk mean?
Nah, man, like, it's good to see this is the cool thing about growth, right? Especially if you have growth that leads to something that goes far beyond your original audience boundaries, right? Is that there's going to be people that are like, yeah, I know RJ, and it's going to be that, yeah, I saw Nirvana playing at a garage before they were who they were. That was cool. I knew RJ before it was cool. We talking about that step mill. We don't talk about step mill.
Man, look, I don't even have a membership at that gym anymore. No.
True history.
No. People like, not on this channel, dog. You can take that somewhere else. Sorry. Dude in here getting political with something that I didn't agree with, so I told him he can get lost. Cause I run this. I'm Karen. I'm the manager.
Fair enough. Hey, I did the thing that you should never do, and I say this as to the people that are actively commenting. But I read a comment the other day. It was like, and it was about me, and I didn't even scroll. It was just like, it was number 2 on the however YouTube decides to give you comments. And it was like, yo, it looks like your boy hates Ohio State, and I had to lay down. I laid down all day. I laid down all day thinking about, I don't hate Ohio State. I'm pretty sure that I've given college reports on Maurice Clarett. Like I talk about Chris Jenkins every day. I'm sorry, not Chris Jenkins, Mike Jenkins every day, and Will Smith.
Chris Gamble.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know the Hawks and the Carpenters. Like, what? Man, internet's such a strange place.
Oh yeah,
Internet's such a strange place.
It really is. It really is. Cause like, I get hate for like, why don't you talk more about Group of 5 teams? Have you seen how many people are on the? For a dude that went to a Group of 5 school, first of all, I never thought of going to a Group of 5 school. I thought of going to the University of Tulsa. Like, wait. What am I supposed to tell you? I'm supposed to tell you that Liberty is good because they're not. Like that's even beyond, like, that's just football. They're not. They got Malik. Have you seen Malik Willis throw a football? I think I saw it and sent you. I got to text this to you next time. But like, Rattler's got the livest arm that I've seen, right, with my own 2 eyes. Watching Malik on video, I said, what? Now, he was at Auburn. He transferred to Liberty. But like, that man is on that Patrick Mahomes, just, I can let it go really late. because I can fire this rocket that's effortless that just gets there. I hate those people. Because, like, what am I going to tell him about throwing a football? Yo, man, don't be so late. Why? I can throw a football over the mountains. That's what I saw against for Liberty. But also, Liberty doesn't play anybody, ever. Even when they did play somebody. Why are we talking about Liberty? Also,
because it's just the Monday before the election. Gotta get all sides.
All right, so Ed Orgeron chose to drag Patrick Surtain in his book. Did I tell you this?
What's this?
And I don't mean like Patrick Surtain Jr. I mean drag Patrick Surtain. This is a recruiting story. And I want to make sure that I get this recruiting story right. So I kind of want to read it, but you know what? Let me see. Let me check, make sure I got the page number right, because I bookmarked this stuff. But I think I can get across the general idea. So Patrick Surtain the second is down to Alabama and LSU. They take a visit, and Patrick Surtain said he wants his kid to play for championships. And Ed Orgeron said, cool, because we're going to do that. And Patrick Surtain apparently scrunched up his face and looked at Ed O like, really? I don't think you are. Apparently, to Ed's understanding, Patrick Surtain II wanted to go to LSU. Patrick Surtain Sr. said, you going to Alabama. And remember, the best player ever out of Southern Miss is not Brett Favre. It's Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain was that dude in college. Patrick Surtain was that dude in the NFL. And he raised a corner. And if you're going to raise a corner and you're going to send him to college, you're going to send him to Alabama unless you're going to send him to LSU. This man had made a decision. Apparently, the way that their recruiting situation worked out for that year, they had one scholarship left because Patrick Surtain ended up going to Alabama. They were able to give that to Joe Burrow. To which your man Ed Orgeron swears, one, Joe Burrow is the best recruit that LSU ever got. Period. Full stop. Yeah, I know. I also know he's getting at, but I know. And when I found out the story of how Ed Orgeron recruited from Ed Orgeron, Joe Burrow, everything starts to make sense. Now, I'm going to tell this story in some length, I think, in another segment. But suffice it to say, Ed Orgeron told Joe Burrow, I can't tell you as the head coach that you will be the starting quarterback at LSU over Justin McMillan, Miles Brennan, and Lowell Narcisse. But I think you're going to be the starting quarterback at LSU if you choose to come to LSU, because it's my ass this year. And if we don't win, going 9-4 the year before, they're going to fire me. Because to let Ed Orgeron tell it, Pat Hayden didn't like him. That's why he didn't get the job at USC. Joe Oliva wanted anybody else but Ed Orgeron, right? Like the ESPN ticker gave the job to Tom Herman. And then before Tom Herman, they gave the job to Jimbo Fisher, right? Even as, Ed Orgeron's like, I'm here. I want the job. I've been doing the job. I got this whole binder. I got a general manager over here. We're giving you the plan of how we're going to get LSU to greatness. I kind of want Tom Herman, Jimbo Fisher. It's what I got to do. Both those dudes decide they don't want the gig. You hire Ed Orgeron. He go 9-4 with a loss to Troy. And now you're in this predicament where he's got to either play Miles Brennan or Justin McMillan, who was the fan favorite, or not the fan favorite, but the team favorite, Justin McMillan. And McMillan made it easier once Joe Burrow got there by just deciding to quit the team without telling Ed Orgeron. So when he wanted to rejoin the team, he was like, I can't do that. You quit the team. When we read early in this book, that Ed Orgeron's like, yo, Joe, I think you're going to win the job. I'm the head coach. Maybe my word matters. So Justin McMillan ends up transferring to Tulane. Miles Brennan was not that good to begin with, but he got to be better. And then Lowell Narcisse, nobody's heard from him in some years. So Joe Burrow not only saved Ed Orgeron's job, Joe Burrow is how Ed Orgeron in his own head makes up for not landing Patrick Surtain II. I did not get the depths of how Ed Orgeron is quite literally superficially, I'm here to recruit and win football games, until I read this book. Because as many mistakes as this dude made, you and I would not be allowed to make those mistakes and be invited into somebody else's, football coaching environment.
I would say that that's actually been Ed Orgeron's whole career, is being on that thin ice of he's only here because enough people have vouched for him, and they don't give him Orgeron doesn't have a long leash. This is, if you were somebody that wanted to get rid of my man, the national championship was the worst thing that could ever happen, because now they're going to actually have to come up with an actual reason, because this is what I know. Administrators do not care for Ed Orgeron.
Oh, man. And, to a T, everybody got the same thinking. He's like, I don't get my fair shake. And I'm like, all right, at USC, I might be able to see that. But you got a fair shake at Ole Miss. Who fought with that? Joe Oliva knows that you from the Bayou. He knows that you started your college football career at LSU and then you quit and you went to Northwestern State. Why? Because he was a defensive lineman and they said, hey, we don't think you got the speed to play defensive line. We're gonna have you play some center. Well, I ain't no center. So he quit and left and didn't tell anybody. But he forgot about that when Justin McMillan quit and left and didn't tell anybody and actually came back and said, hey, look, I made a mistake. Can I come back? He said no. Ed Orgeron just as cutthroat as everybody else. That's all I'm saying, right? And now you want to talk about people not giving him a fair shake? You getting more fair shakes than anybody else in this life. I'm just throwing
Let's say Ed Orgeron been fired more than other people getting hired.
Yeah, man. Alakazam jumping in here with the $5 super chat. Clemson fan here. I think we should go to a 8-team playoff. The way things are going, teams like Clemson will not get in over a 5-loss Bama. Thoughts? 16-team playoff. And short of that, FCS playoff system where you get 24 teams in. You get 10 automatic qualifiers, and then you have at-large bids. Everybody gets in that should get in, and you can always put in the Pioneer League champ, like San Diego, and always expect them not to make it out of the second round. Everybody gets an opportunity to play for the belt. Everybody gets the same opportunity to get skull dragged by Bama. But y'all want your college football oligarchy. You don't want an egalitarian system. You don't want more inventory, more football being played. You don't want home games for playoffs. You want to hold up the damn Red Box Bowl. I've been trying to tell people for years, let go of your bowl system and make it an FCS playoff bracket system. That way, winning your conference championship doesn't actually matter that much, except to get you into the playoff as an automatic qualifier and to get you seeded. Notre Dame can go be Notre Dame. They ain't even got to be in this ACC marriage. They'll get in that large berth. Put the WAC champ in there. Put the damn Southland champ in there. Put everybody in there that should get an opportunity to be in there. Because I would like nothing more than to watch North Texas get in as the Conference USA champ and have to play Clemson off top. That's fun. Put Coastal Carolina in there against the SEC's runner-up Florida Georgia. That's fun. Y'all don't want fun. Y'all want to be elitist and supremacist, and I don't live there. God damn. I feel like I've been yelling about this forever. With that, subscribe to the RJ Young Show podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever it is that you decide to get your podcast. Leave a 5-star review, please. Hopefully we get back to the sponsorships. I kind of like to go with the free-flowing conversation with Ron. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more like how we talk on the phone. Even as, those conversations are always way better than if these microphones are turned off. All right. That is going to do it for us. I appreciate y'all. Deuces.